BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole. Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back to the high episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh. I got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building, and I played it off. It was smooth.
Yeah, that was went ahead and got that out the way. Huh?
Yeah, just get it out the way. Just pay no attention to the droids behind the building. Man, what a weekend. I ain't gonna even ask how your weekend going because I already know what you've been doing.
Yeah, I've been trying to take Tulane to the playoffs, man.
Understood. I'll just say it like this: Houston learned a lesson. Put me in the game, we win.
I will say this: Road to Glory is cornerback. It ain't easy. It ain't for the meek. And your boy was getting burned a little bit at first because the speed just wasn't there. But I was in position, just a couple steps behind or whatever. But got me a pick, forced a couple fumbles, got me a pick six. It put me at CB1, finished the season, won the Sugar Bowl. Then that was like, oh, you're gonna start next season as cornerback 4. How the hell does that happen?
I kid you not. I was a freshman. I didn't play until the last 3-4 weeks of the season. I was freshman all Big 12. I had like 500 yards receiving in like 4 games. Cutting up. Next season, wide receiver 4. I was like, how? I listen, and I didn't even start at the what's the second one, the 4-star. I started as a 3-star, 67. Worked myself all the way up to a 75 by the end of the season. Wide receiver 4 next season. How? And then I literally did not play the first 2 games. We lost them 2 games of the second season. Lost them 2 games. When I came starter, we went on a run. Oh, guess what? Here's the funny part about it. Guess who ended up transferring and was our starting left tackle?
Who did?
Emory Jones Jr. Transferred to Houston. And matter of fact, year 3, my junior year, we're undefeated. Guess who my quarterback is? I never would have guessed it.
I have no idea.
DJ Lagway.
Oh, he came back home, huh?
Yeah, he came to Houston.
That's crazy.
Starting cornerback. So, yeah, man, it's been eventful. I've been having fun with it, man. Man, shout out.
It might not be too far fetched though, considering his coach might be gone next year.
I'm just saying. It was pretty cool, man. Play the game. The game has been fun. I even started over. So cause the way I always create my players, because I've been doing this in NBA 2K. When I do my creative player, I usually do it with my kids' middle names to make a full name. But that was before, and I used to do it for the whole game, but that was before Dylan was born. Now I got 3 kids. I can't really do it. So I've been having to do get creative. Like I gave one middle name is the first name, one middle name is the last name. I use Jason number, and then I use Mobile as the place. So it's all 4. It's kind of wrapped in, it's been interesting. So yeah. Speaking of, man, shout out to Jason over at Houston, man. They got merch now.
That's what's up.
Got merch. So I bought me a jersey. I can't wait for it to come in. And your boy Dylan weaseled me out of some cleats this weekend because we gotta get ready for football season.
About that time.
Yeah. So he found some cleats, and we tried on some cleats. It was probably 3 weeks ago. All the cleats he wanted were grade school, so size 3.5 and bigger. Yeah. He wears a size 3. Went yesterday to try on cleats. He's in a 3.5 now.
Got him.
So now the cleats he wants. And guess what cleats he wants? The Jordan cleats.
Of course.
Of course, the Jordan cleats. They was on sale, so.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm mad at Danny girl over here.
And with the
did she save you one little corner in the new? Yeah, she basically said you got a desk, make it work.
Yeah.
Until my area gets ready, my man cave area gets ready, I gotta make do. So
yeah, I mean,
nothing to make her mad because she done let me play NCAA all weekend. So whatever she wants, she get.
Yeah, I understand, man. I felt bad because I got a call today. Was like, hey, do you want to go get school supplies? Like, man, I don't feel like doing nothing today. I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm working, and that's what your answer. I said, okay. So I end up cutting the grass and buying dinner. So
I told my wife I've been working all weekend, man. I've been in these team meetings. I've been studying.
It's hard running the program.
Definitely, man. I gotta keep my grades up. You know what I mean? Got to keep that GPA up.
That gets you every time. Listen, that really will get you every time. But man, let's go ahead. Let's now really give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in one. Hold on. I'm definitely messing up. We'll be back in 1 minute.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, we are back. Big commitment this weekend from Derek Meadows out at Bishop Gorman.
Yes, sir. Big.
Go ahead.
I was about to say he's a big body receiver. huge bodied receiver. Kind of reminds you of kind of like Keon Coleman, like Brandon Marshall, some of those, like old boy in Spaces said he brought up a few names that kind of resemble how the body style and the play type of Derek Meadows, but he's just a playmaker on the outside that you really don't see too many of. They look like he got made in the lab, but came down to us in Notre Dame, and BK did what he did and what he needed to do. Coach Hankton did what he needed to do, and they got him on campus. Well, they got him to commit. So now they just got to get him on campus and keep him in that class. But that's a big pickup for Hankton. Seems like the coach is just taking turns, picking up a commitment. But didn't go quite the way we wanted to Saturday, but at least we got one of them.
Yeah. Man, I want to repeat kind of Carter, our good friend Carter Bryant put out a tweet. Said LSU on 3 Sports top 125 recruits in every recruiting cycle under Brian Kelly. In 2022, he had 5. In 2023, he had 6. 2024, he had 6. 2025, he has 10, and it's July.
In the last 30 days, LSU has picked up Carius Kearney, Jesse Harold, Zion Williams, Damian Shanklin, DJ Pickett, Derek Meadows, Jace Thomas, and Brandon Brown.
That's a nice haul.
That's just really in the last 30 days.
Yes, it's a really nice haul. BK can't recruit. I put the tweet out there. I just want I'll say this. There's a lot of messy and petty tweets that come from my account, mostly me. I put it like that. You might be Petty Murphy, but
yeah, I usually say that for my personal page. But
I put it out there. I asked the question. I wonder if Brian Driscoll still blames Brian Kelly for Notre Dame's lack of recruiting.
You gotta blame somebody, man.
Texas said Bo Davis can't recruit. Notre Dame said Brian Kelly can't recruit.
I heard Corey Raymond was washed up.
Georgia said Cortez Hankton doesn't develop players.
Yeah.
But they've all seemed to defy those odds at LSU.
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
I'm just trying to figure it out, but it'll be interesting.
I need them to say that BK can't win a championship.
Oh, they've said that. They've said that.
There was mostly saying, that he couldn't recruit and he wasn't gonna go down there and win like he did at Notre Dame and all that kind of stuff. Just put the Brian Kelly won't win the 2025 college football playoff. Just put that in the atmosphere a little bit more.
Yeah. That's a good point, Carla. Shout out to Carla too. I'm glitching. Shout out to Carla. Carla I appreciate you, Carla, for retweeting our stuff and everything. As of late and stuff. It means a lot to us. But Carla says Ohio State is one state over from Indiana where Notre Dame is.
Fair point.
Why go there when you can go to the Buckeyes and win?
Very fair point.
Yeah. Because Brian, that's who it was, Brian Turner, that was in the space last night, mentioned that Notre Dame hasn't gotten a top, what he said, top 200 or top 100?
Top 100 wide receiver or cornerback.
Yeah, since 2007, something like that?
Since
2003.
Since 247 existed, is what he said.
Yeah. That's a stat for you. That is a stat for you.
That's because I think like what, you don't think Chase Claypool was top 100 wide receiver?
Maybe not coming out of high school.
True.
I think now they have developed some great wide receivers and I think a few cornerbacks and stuff. I think he said Golden Tate was like the last one or something.
Yeah, Golden Tate, yeah. That's crazy though.
That is wow. Yeah. Speaking of, well, I guess this is a terrible transition. I'm gonna just mention it briefly because it is out there. I was gonna say, speaking of wild, the story is out there. I'm not, and we both talked beforehand. We're not gonna go into details because we don't know the details. But sophomore cornerback,
Javian Toviano.
Toviano. I couldn't remember the first name. I was messing up. Javian Toviano was arrested for voyeurism. The article states that he recorded intimate acts with a young lady with a camera inside of a clock. I'm not going. I don't know all the details. I read the story, but I still don't know all the details because I'm pretty sure the story doesn't have all the details yet. It's a legal matter now. I don't know where this puts Toviano. I don't know what's going on fully. Pray for all parties involved.
Let the due process play out.
And I do want I wish for the best. And by the best, not necessarily mean whatever the best is. If that's him moving somewhere else, moving on, him back at LSU, whatever is best for him and the young lady. So I don't know, or I can't necessarily speak.
Yeah, I just hope he gets his a fair day in court, and that we all let that play out before we start to point fingers and judge people.
Yeah. It's so many. Dang, pause up. All right, man. Where we at? All right, we do have a special guest tonight. Pause up. You killing me. Got a special guest with us tonight. Get to find out about Ole Miss, man. Talk about the 2024 Rebels.
Come about what we talked about last week.
We had some pushback on that.
I know we did. I'm sure we did.
Yeah, we had some pushback on that. But man, let's bring them up. It was a great conversation. Welcoming to the Golden Boot from LockedOn Ole Miss podcast, host of LockedOn Ole Miss podcast. I just want to let y'all know, when I found this picture, I was like, this man is not to be messed with.
It looks like he don't play no games.
I thought when I had to check the picture twice because I was like, nah, this got to be like the D-line coach or something. Welcome to the show, Mr. Steven Willis. Hey, thank you for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Where did y'all get that picture?
It's
all him, man. It's all him.
Every time we have a guest on, a lot of times they don't know we do the guest cards and stuff. So I try to find a picture of stuff, and if I have too hard of a time finding a picture, I'll reach out and be like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." I did a Google search and it popped up. I was like, "Perfect."
It's nice to know that is floating out there. Thank you.
Yeah, we had when was it last week? I think we had Casey Mallon from he covers Oklahoma, and I found a picture. I had the hardest. I could not, and I some just say check Facebook, and I found a picture of him. Not only was it a great picture, but it was a picture of him doing horns down. I was like, that's perfect. That is perfect. So, but yeah, Steven, I'm a internet sleuth at times.
My boy said you look like don't ask me no dumb questions.
You know, people that know me, that's pretty correct. That's on point. Yeah. That's on point.
All right, so was that last show, Pooh, that we were talking about the quarterbacks?
Yes, it was.
All right. So last show we were talking about quarterbacks, and I took a little heat because I said I feel like at the end of the season, Jackson Dart could be the best quarterback in the SEC.
Production wise,
what's your thoughts on Jackson Dart and where he kind of falls in the hierarchy of SEC quarterbacks? Because he doesn't seem to get a lot of love a lot of times from national pundits and things like that. But I think he's better than the attention he gets.
Yes. Basically on tomorrow's show, tomorrow morning's podcast, my first segment I open with is like the media is hating on Jackson Dart. Essentially, there's no reason why he should not be on one of the all SEC teams. Yep. And this is going to be the thing, honestly, that allows Ole Miss, after 6 months of everybody telling Ole Miss how good they are, to get to go into fall camp with a chip on the shoulder. I mean, that is what that is. But I had Mike Detillier on my podcast probably 4 months ago, something like that. And he said that he thought that Jackson Dart had a chance to have a jump similar to what Jaden Daniels did last year. And with Ole Miss having, I think, the best wide receiving core in the entire country, I think Trey Harris is the best wide receiver in the country. Juice Wells, he's healthy now. He's had his surgery. And, you guys know about Deion Smith. Deion Smith is going to be on the field. And he was the best wide receiver in junior college a year ago. I think offensively, Ole Miss has a chance to be like LSU 2019, Tennessee 2022 type offense. And if Jackson Dart does that, he's going to leave Ole Miss the record holder in about 90% of the quarterback records, the winningest quarterback in school history. So basically, yeah, everything's in front of Jackson Dart.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned because with the transfer portal and everything, Ole Miss, was on fire. Went out and grabbed, just about any talent, every talent they could get. And they have gotten a lot of, praise. But then, like you said, nobody's talking about Jackson Dart. And then we have, unfortunately, the loss of Monty Kiffin. So it seems like at this point, there are several factors to motivate Ole Miss, and I guess to get away from that rat poison.
Yeah, because pretty much, they play Penn State in the Peach Bowl, and they were supposedly the number one defense in all of college football. And anybody that watched that saw that Jackson Dart was essentially toying with them guys. And Ole Miss just completely dominated that football game. And from that moment on, it was like rat poison. And I am a rat poison salesman. That's what I do.
Yeah.
But we needed something. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you wanted something to kind of put everything in perspective so Ole Miss can play with that chip on the shoulder that Ole Miss is kind of famous for, whether baseball, basketball, or football. Because the big problem was going to come into the season if just the rat poison went all the way into the Furman game, dealing with those expectations. Now you have something that Jackson Dart and the whole Ole Miss team, because the whole Ole Miss team is going to rally behind this, because Jackson Dart kind of is the face of the Ole Miss football team this year. So whenever he takes an affront like that, the whole team is going to rally behind him. And Ole Miss has 3 team All-SEC players, even without Jackson Dart on the list, which is, I think, second behind Georgia and tied with Alabama or something like that. So this is a very talented Ole Miss football team. I mean, Josh Pate predicted them to go to the SEC championship game. And like I said, I don't know about that. I think Ole Miss is going to be a playoff team, but top 2 playing for that bye, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think y'all definitely have a pretty good shot at that, considering all the talent y'all brought in. But it wasn't just, transfer portal works 2 ways. Y'all definitely brought a lot of talent in, but arguably y'all's best player from a year ago exited out of the transfer portal in Quinshon Judkins. So how do y'all replace him, and what does that running back room look like this year?
Have you seen the movie Moneyball?
Yeah.
They are going to replace Quinshon Judkins in the aggregate. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to be able to find a 230-pound running back, that speed and that agility and all of that stuff. So what they did, they made sure to bring Ulysses Bentley, the 4th back, who is the explosive guy. He is the Jerry and Ely plus type running back. They recruited Rashad Amos, running back from Miami of Ohio, in the transfer portal. That's 230 pounds. He rushed for over 1,000 yards a year ago. They brought Henry Parrish back, who LSU fans would remember at Ole Miss. He is going to be a guy that kind of keeps the trains going. But if you put all of those running backs together, you're going to have something similar to what Quinshon Judkins provided. And we need to remember about Quinshon. Last year, he did not have a particularly good year.
That's true.
He only averaged 4.3 yards per carry, which in a Lane Kiffin system, that would have been the lowest yards per carry of a leading rusher that Ole Miss has had since Lane Kiffin has been at Ole Miss.
Interesting.
I actually last year I thought y'all were I think at one point in the season, and you may remember this, I said that I think that it's going to be Ole Miss and Missouri in the championship last year. So I may have been a year ahead of schedule with that. I don't know if Missouri gets there, but I do think that you guys have a really good chance of getting there.
Be about time, right?
Right. My only question, Kiffin, he is as good as he's been. He's gotten in his own way with some of his play calling. Well, I don't know.
I don't know if he gets in his way on his play calling. I think that he beats the teams that he's supposed to beat. And he gets in trouble whenever he goes up a team that can just manhandle you on the line of scrimmage. Whenever you're playing Georgia and Alabama that can just line up and beat you up front, he struggles with that because all of the window dressing and all that doesn't work with them because they can line up and cover one, play very simple, and they can just out-athlete you. I mean, that's Alabama and Georgia's thing. So this year, the difference that Lane Kiffin had is he went out and he got 4 offensive linemen and Diego Pounds, who graded out 10 points higher than any offensive lineman that Ole Miss had a year ago. He's probably going to be playing left tackle. He's 345 pounds, just a completely mountain of a man. Nate Kalepo and Julius Bulow, 2 of the 5 offensive linemen from the Washington Husky, which was the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line a year ago. And Jarquan Scott, who has like 46 career starts at Southern Mississippi. That goes with everybody they bring back. So they legit have like 240 starts on their offensive line coming back. So they want to be able to line up and manhandle you a little bit. And on the defensive line, you bring in Walter Nolan, who was a former number 1 player in the whole country, Princely Amon-Mielen, who might be the best pass rusher in the whole country, save Harold Perkins. And you have Jared Ivey, who was the defensive MVP of the Peach Bowl. Those 3 were on all SEC preseason teams to begin with, and J.J. Pegues, who might be the most athletic out of every single one of them. Lane Kiffin has made it to where on the offensive and defensive line, this team is going to be able to compete at a level that they haven't in the past. And even Nick Saban pointed out, this is the first year that Ole Miss looks like an SEC team. And when he says SEC teams, he means Alabama, he means Georgia, he means those guys. And I think if that happens, you're going to see a situation where Ole Miss only needs 24 points to win a game, but the defense is going to get the ball back, and you're going to see a lot of 49-17 type games over the course of the season, and you'll have 2 or 3 really tight games that's going to determine everything.
Hey, let me clarify real quick. When I say he got in his way with his play calling, I mean like the going forward on 4th. Every single time, because there have been games. He's been in the games, and he's done, and it feels like he's more emotional.
Alabama was in his head.
There you go. That's the game I'm thinking about. Yeah. But go ahead, Ant. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. I hear you. I get you now.
Yeah, the transfer portal brought y'all a couple LSU guys. One this year, one last year. I want to ask you about. What's the latest on Logan Diggs? Is he expected to play much this year? And Walker Howard, what has he been looking like? And what's the latest on him? Is he going to be the number 2 quarterback, or is he still kind of buried on the chart?
We'll start out with Logan Diggs. Logan Diggs, I think the expectation is that the later part of the season might be the earliest he can come back, because in LSU's bowl game, he tore his ACL. He picked number 22 at Ole Miss. He's going to be wearing number 22 this season. And any running back that goes into Ole Miss and picks that number, I respect the heck out of him, because that's like going to Ole Miss and picking Eli's number, or that means that's Deuce McAllister, that's Dexter McCluster. Yeah. That's those dudes. And Logan Diggs, I think if he was completely healthy, he would probably be the best running back that Ole Miss had and would have been the RB1 this season. But we'll see with later on in the year. Now, with Ole Miss potentially making a playoff push, I think this is an interesting situation for Logan Diggs, because later on the season, he might start playing against Florida or against Mississippi State, and everybody's going to say, what is he doing? Well, the whole point is you don't want to blow your red shirt, and you can get that, but then he would still be available for the playoffs for Ole Miss. And so there's a chance at the end of the year where Ole Miss is getting a free running back that's completely fresh with all the tread on his tires that could show up. Now, to answer your other question, I think Walker Howard's doing a good job, okay? So what I'm about to say is not anything reflecting poorly on Walker, but there's two quarterbacks that's kind of in the public eye at Ole Miss that's competing for the backup job. There's Walker Howard and there's Austin Simmons. Austin Simmons is the guy that famously reclassified up 2 years to go to Ole Miss a year ago. So he's a true freshman a year ago. He is basically Tua with about 3 extra inches. He's a left-handed guy. He has videos all up of him throwing in the offseason with Jalen Waddle and those guys with the Miami Dolphins. So he has all the hype in the world and has the fan base completely buzzing. Walker Howard is kind of that traditional Southern quarterback that you always think of. He's probably getting the job done. So me saying this doesn't say that he's not going to win the job. I think, though, right now, Austin Simmons probably has the fans' imagination at the moment. But we'll see. This is a huge football season for both of them, because the 2025 quarterback job
wide open.
Starts in 9 days.
Yeah. All right. We got a question here in the chat. Carlos Johnson asks, is Isaiah Hamilton starting at cornerback?
Looks like it. He was brought in to start for sure. So it'll all be working out during fall camp. But Trey Amos, who is also from the same town that Trey Harris is from, is likely going to start at one corner. So the other side is going to be between him, Chris Graves, and Cedric Beavers and Brandon Turnage, the Tennessee transfer. But it looks like Isaiah Hamilton with his ball skills. I think Ole Miss fans are pretty excited about this guy. And I think Ole Miss, with their defensive line and the way their defense is going to be set up, it's going to look more like an Alabama-type defense when Pete Golding was there, to where double teams are required on at least 2 defensive line players, which means that quarterback's going to have to get the ball out quicker, which means a man coverage cornerback is going to shrink that window, which, though a Trey Amos and an Isaiah Hamilton, I do think that would be a good look for that secondary.
Yeah, we got another question from the chat. Back to the Walker Howard. Do you think that if he doesn't win the backup spot this year, does he transfer out next year?
Okay, I'll put it like this. If he does not win the quarterback job in 2025, yes, I think he transfers. By the same token, if Austin Simmons does not win the transfer, whoever loses that job is probably gone. That said, I do not expect Lane Kiffin to name a backup quarterback this year. They are probably going to take turns, and they're going to do something to keep them happy to try and make it through the next transfer portal window. So they can at least have a competition next spring. Now, if the end of next spring, the players kind of just know, and the players know, by the way, everybody, coaches can play games with the fans. The players know. If the players know what's going on, I think by the end of next spring, something could happen.
Yeah. I'm going to ask this. You've named several of the guys you've got in, some guys that you expect to have, some pretty good seasons, big seasons. What's a name on Ole Miss roster that is not getting enough chatter?
TJ Dudley, linebacker transfer. Like, you're going to hear me say transfer a whole bunch, because there's about 50 of them on Ole Miss's roster this year. But he's a transfer from Clemson. He's a guy that does a lot of the same stuff that if LSU fans are familiar with Harold Perkins, they kind of do the same stuff. He's a guy that can rush off the edge. In fact, whenever it was made to where transfers were immediately eligible back in December, TJ Dudley got to play. I think his name's TJ Daugherty now. He changed his name. But if you hear me say TJ Dudley, that's what I'm talking about, TJ Daugherty. The Peach Bowl was his first opportunity to play a game. He came in and started, played Cedric Johnson's position, who was opting out in the bowl game, and was good. He did a good job of funneling everything over to Jared Ivey. And that defensive MVP was a lot because of TJ Daugherty. This year, the question is he going to be the second linebacker next to Chris Pupal? Or is it going to be a situation where they mix up the defenses, like if they do some 3-3 stack type stuff, some 4-2-5 type stuff, and where you place the linebackers, where Daugherty lines up, that could be very interesting. And I think that could be a weapon, especially with Chris Pupal, because that dude's a run defense machine.
I think all the work y'all did in the transfer portal and bringing in the roster that y'all have, when the schedule came out, y'all had to be licking y'all's chops because it just seemed like everything just lined up perfectly for y'all. I mean, getting the bye between LSU and Oklahoma, getting Arkansas before Georgia. I mean, like, couldn't work out any better than that for y'all. So what's your overall thoughts on the schedule this year for y'all?
I can't complain about the schedule. I do realize we play the preseason #1 team in the SEC in Georgia, but so does Texas and so does Alabama. I mean, that's a problem for everybody. The next team that Ole Miss plays is the #5 preseason team, and that's LSU. That's in Death Valley. That'll be a problem for Ole Miss just because of the environment, because Ole Miss is probably going to go in there undefeated, and LSU is going to be all kinds of jacked up for that game. We've seen what happens when Ole Miss goes into that stadium undefeated. It's different. But after that, Oklahoma at 8. So we're the first half. There's only 3 teams in the top half of the league that Ole Miss plays, and then they play 5 games against number 11 through number 15. They number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's Ole Miss's schedule this year. So if you want to complain about schedule and you're an Ole Miss fan, you're in the wrong place, buddy, because this is kind of what we dreamed of for the last 40 years.
Yeah. So we talked kind of a lot about this, and you've mentioned it about all the transfers and stuff you've gotten in. Is that going to be kind of, I guess, Kiffin's way to build up Ole Miss from here in the future? I mean, kind of just do it portal and kind of somewhat in the high school pick a guy or two.
Yeah, I think that is the path for Ole Miss. Ole Miss is never going to do what LSU's done because it's the most expensive way to build a roster is recruiting high school players, because you have to get them to visit, you have to get them to commit. And then you saw with Quinshon Judkins, he can keep coming to the well over and over again. By the time it got to the point, he was making close to $1 million a year, and he came back and asked for more money. And Ole Miss is like, go have fun, go find what you can find. But you're going to see that happen with high school football more and more. I think that Ole Miss is going to be a case study on building through the transfer portal. I think if Ole Miss is successful and goes to the playoff this year, you're going to see more teams that are in just the outside of that top tier of college football go more heavily into the transfer portal. You're going to see places like at the very top, they're going to fill their roster with high school recruits, but then all of a sudden they're going to fill their roster with high school recruits if you're like number 35 or number 40 in the country. But in between that area, you're going to see a heavy influence of the transfer portal if this works from Ole Miss, because this is an unbelievable case study of whether or not this will work, because right now everybody's kind of doing that Bill Snyder Kansas State thing from the early 2000s, like, can he build through the junior college ranks? They're doing that same thing right now. If you have a case study that this works, all of a sudden others are going to copy it, because we know this is a copycat league.
Danny girl was about to ask the same question I was just about to ask. If y'all do make that playoff run this year, and let's say y'all win a game in the playoffs, and Napier gets fired at Florida, are you worried about Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss?
No, I'm not worried about Lane going to Florida.
Any school?
Oh, yes, I'm scared to death of Miami.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, people know that Lane Kiffin is a Florida guy. Everybody knows he takes the picture with the fishing and all of that stuff. They know that. But there is a difference between Miami and FAU, that Florida, and Gainesville. Gainesville might as well be Mobile or Panama City Beach.
Oh, slow up on Mobile.
That's a different vibe. That's not Miami.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Miami would scare the death out, especially knowing that like Mario Cristobal, the last time when he filed his taxes last year, it was like $22 million. Yeah, they've got real money down there.
Yeah,
and they're throwing it around right now.
Yeah,
but and also I've heard rumors, and this is from people that I know in that area, because for anybody that doesn't know, I'm in Central Florida myself. That's where I do this. But last time that it came open, when they hired Billy Napier, the board didn't even want to look at Lane Kiffin. The board was very anti-Lane Kiffin for whatever reason at the University of Florida.
I think that might change if he goes on a deep playoff run, considering that'll be 3 10-win seasons in a row and a playoff appearance.
Well, here's the difference that Florida has to worry about. Lane Kiffin makes close to $10 million a year now.
True.
Yeah,
it'll be how bad do they want him,
Yeah. You're going to have to overpay.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, whoever made Florida's football schedule this year has to be a Florida State grad. Has to be. That person deserves to be fired with cause.
They got money on the under on Billy Napier's games this year.
Yeah, it's like Billy, be nice to people. Be nice to people. Although in our network, whenever we're sitting there talking everything, we have 2 nicknames. We have LinkedIn Billy and G5 Billy.
LinkedIn Billy. That's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, Paul. So yeah, I was about to ready to go to war there. I'm from Mobile, that's why. So when you mentioned,
hey, whenever I go home, I have to go through there.
Yeah. So all right. So we've talked about the portal. We've talked about the potential of Kiffin and the threat of Miami. With all that and the way you guys attack the portal, a lot of people were thinking, and I'm going to ask now, is this championship or bust for Ole Miss this year?
It's playoffs or bust. It absolutely is. I tell people all the time, it's okay to say playoffs or bust. Alabama lives in a perpetual state of playoffs or bust. That's kind of where you want to be. And this year, yeah, you have Jackson Dart as a year 3 quarterback coming back at Ole Miss. You have like 20 players projected to be drafted by the Senior Bowl. This is the most talented roster that Ole Miss has put together in my lifetime. Now, could things go wrong? Yeah, absolutely, it could go wrong. But if you want to play the game on paper, which we all want to, whenever you're looking at this on July 21st, you got to say, yeah, Ole Miss is one of the best 4 SEC teams. Yeah. Ole Miss is a playoff team. Anything below the playoff, a Citrus Bowl, for instance, in 2024, you're going to see opt-outs like Florida State did just a year ago. Yeah, honestly, that's the way that's going to work, because it is playoffs or bust.
Yeah. So this year, obviously, you just mentioned playoffs or bust, but what's probably the thing that you want to see most this year from this team besides making the playoffs, obviously?
Honestly, this is the one thing I want to know. And I know that this is an LSU podcast, so this will be funny. But I'd like to see an undefeated Ole Miss team go down to Tiger Stadium and win. That is my favorite game on Ole Miss's schedule every year, period. It doesn't matter. The Egg Bowl is great. That's the game that Ole Miss fans most don't want to lose. Yeah. But the game that Ole Miss fans most want to win is against LSU. And normally, back whenever I was younger, Ole Miss played really well in Tiger Stadium. And it was always a dogfight and weird games. And LSU might find a way to win and all that, but it looked really good and it was a really fun game. Last couple of years, honestly, it started with Ed Orgeron and Leonard Fournette just absolutely trucking Deontay, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that still in the it's still in the turf.
Yeah. Whenever that happened, it just completely a switch flipped, and Ole Miss hasn't played very well in Baton Rouge since that moment. So I'd like to see Ole Miss go down to Baton Rouge, play well, and win that game and exercise the demon, because they haven't won there since 2008.
Yeah, I still remember that. I still remember that Bo Wallace team that came in like number 3 or something like that against Anthony Jennings.
Yeah.
And LSU, and it was 10-7 game. LSU stormed the field, and Trey Quinn was crowd surfing.
That dude Bo Wallace could run, bro.
Yes, he could.
Yeah, he also could throw a Hail Mary when you were in field goal range on the last play of the game. Yeah, he could also do that. I watched that game on my phone in the Ryman Auditorium at a Jason Isbell concert. I'm sitting there watching that game, and I'm sitting here, they're like in between songs, and all you can hear is just one person, me, going, "What are you doing?" And yeah,
love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Hugh Freeze teams have weird moments like that, as Auburn found out last year.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Hugh Freeze. What's your thoughts about him back in the SEC, and how long do you think it'll take him to turn Auburn around, if he does turn it around?
Define turning it around. Will they be what Gus Malzahn was? I don't know if Hugh Freeze will get Auburn to a national title game or even to a playoff. They might be, because all you have to do is be 11th in the country to get there.
Yeah,
but they have some rebuilding to do.
Definitely.
And they're going to lose a game or two every single year. We saw this at Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat Alabama twice. Everybody talks about that. They don't talk about the fact that one of those years they lost to Memphis. You know, one of those years they went down to Florida and got absolutely steamrolled against a Florida team that couldn't beat anybody. You know, it's one of those things that I think he's going to drop a game that he's not supposed to every year, and that's going to be what keeps him out of the playoff. He's probably going to be right there on the edge.
Yeah.
But I just don't know.
Are you surprised that, my bad, Pooh? Are you surprised that he hasn't figured out the quarterback situation yet at Auburn? Because obviously nobody really thinks that Thorne is the answer.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Peyton Thorne. I do. It was Cam Coleman, the wide receiver, the freshman. They're really excited. They're doing the whole thing where they're pinning hopes on a wide receiver unit. From what I saw last year, listen, Ole Miss went down to the Plains, and that place was as jacked up as it was the entire year. It was a night game at Jordan Hare. Everybody knows what those games are like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Auburn offensively was a joke that night, just an absolute joke. And that game could have played 10 more quarters and Auburn wasn't scoring another touchdown. It just wasn't, because they couldn't throw the ball down the field. And it got to the point where that whole Alabama mindset of becoming a boa constrictor and getting tighter and tighter to the line of scrimmage, Pete Golding was able to do that. And so eventually they took care of their running game. Auburn couldn't throw the ball downfield, and they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Y'all mentioned Hugh Freeze, and it just reminded me that there was a data leak at AT&T the other day, and he was a little bit nervous. But Danny asked the question to all three hosts at SEC Media Day. Jake Crane said that Ole Miss has become what LSU was in the SEC West, and that they basically flip spots. And do you agree or disagree?
I kind of agree with that, honestly, especially when you look at LSU's defense a year ago. The LSU last year looked a whole lot like Ole Miss teams that I've seen over and over again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like I sit there and watch that. I was like, I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
And listen, this is all you needed to know. And that shootout, that unbelievable game in Oxford a year ago, Ole Miss got the ball back with like a minute and 30 seconds to go in the game.
Yeah,
and they ran the ball down the field to score the winning touchdown. They did it on the ground. And there was no doubt that they were scoring. I was just worried that they were going to score too quick.
Almost did.
Yeah, and it was. And Daniels was just unbelievable that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a situation. Yeah, that I think that is correct. LSU has kind of become what Ole Miss was, and Ole Miss is doing what LSU is doing, especially this year when defensive linemen, there's going to be some dudes.
I was going to say, going like up to this point, I don't know if I could agree with that, because LSU is, of the two teams, LSU most recently played for the SEC championship of those two teams. But going into this year, if LSU defense don't improve with what I expect Ole Miss to be, I think that could happen, because I think Ole Miss is in the playoffs this year for sure. LSU, I have no idea. There's too many questions. There's too many uncertainties. So I think after this season, that could have Ole Miss could surpass LSU, but I don't think it's happened quite yet.
If Ole Miss beats LSU in Tiger Stadium, if that happens, which Ole Miss is probably going to be at least close to favorite in that game. But if Ole Miss can win that, Ole Miss has won 3 out of 4 against LSU.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very true. And you got anything else for Steven before we get ready to get out of here?
Yeah. Last question. I know you said it's playoff or bust, but is that your prediction this year? Does Ole Miss make the playoffs?
Yeah, I will do a conservative Ole Miss makes the playoffs. The goal should be, in my opinion, is Ole Miss hosts a playoff game. I think the goal should be host.
I think a better question is, does Ole Miss play in the SEC championship game this year?
That is the $100 question. I mean, like Jake Crane and Josh Pate have all put them up there. Like Ben Watson had them at SEC Media Days. I mean, it's possible, especially with that schedule. If Ole Miss goes down to Tiger Stadium and comes out of there with a win, to where you just have to get past Oklahoma and Georgia. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the schedule, it's there. Like I said, I've seen weird stuff happen all the time. So I'm not ready to predict that, but I would not be shocked if Ole Miss was in that game.
Yeah. I didn't even ask you about Jeff Lebby. We'll have to do that next time.
Oh yeah. All day. Whenever Ole Miss plays LSU, bring me on the show.
Hey, we got you.
Yeah.
We got you. Just be prepared. We're gonna have frog legs and chicken bones and all kind of voodoo to put on y'all.
Hey, listen, every meet and greet that I have, the whole thing, it's like they're my unofficial sponsors at a walk-ons.
Oh yeah, can't go wrong.
Yeah,
can't go wrong.
But man, Steven, I truly thank you for coming on. For those of you, tuning in, y'all behind the scene, I have been harassing this man trying to find a good date to get him on the show, and it was I felt like Joe Oliva trying to reschedule Florida during that hurricane that time, but
he didn't disappoint though.
No, he didn't. He came through. He didn't mess it up like Florida did. We got them Thursday too, by the way. That'll be fun.
Great.
That'll be fun. Yeah, I know, right? I'm looking now. I'll say this: I'm looking forward to the guests. I'm not looking forward to talking about Florida.
Not at all.
At all.
I'm still that LinkedIn Billy though. I'm still in there.
yeah. That was fun. That and G5 Billy. That's
oh yeah. We definitely I've been calling him G5 Billy for a long time. That's Sunbelt Billy. Yeah. I
like LinkedIn Billy though.
Yeah. That's a great one. That is very great.
Yeah. ULL and Billy, 2 L's. All right, Mr. Steve. Appreciate you again for coming through. Thank you. And look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. And anybody that wants to hear my stuff, Locked On Ole Miss, you can find it on YouTube, man.
You know what? I usually tell the people where they can find you, man. Give them all your handles and stuff. Yeah, it's Twitter at the Steven Willis. On Instagram, it's LO Ole Miss. And on YouTube, it is Locked On Ole Miss as well. You can catch me on wherever you get your audio podcast, and it'll be a good time. I do not talk smack, but I am opinionated, and I will tick people off from time to time.
Yeah, you're doing your job, then, buddy.
You got to be doing your job. People don't like us either. All right, man. Thank you for thank you for coming through again, ladies and gentlemen. That was our good man, Mr. Steven Willis. Yeah,
man, he looked like he'd take a 2x4 and mess you up in that picture, though, bro.
I'm telling you. Hey, I got Ole Miss like I think at least 2 coming out the SEC.
People thought I was crazy, man. I'm telling you.
Dude, they are.
I forgot about Deion Smith too, bro. I knew they had Wells from South Carolina, and I knew they had Trey back. I forgot about Deion. Man, that's
loaded.
Yeah,
loaded.
Damn.
But I will say this. I'm not saying necessarily this is an indication, but loaded teams can fail you sometimes. Let's talk about Team USA real quick. They struggled yesterday against the Sudan. I don't know if
South Sudan, man.
Yeah, South Sudan, excuse me. I don't know if that's an indication of anything, but the game was they were down by 14 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
They came back. When I say they, the United States was down by 14 and a half. They came back, took a nice commanding, I think it was like 6.8 point lead, something like that. A minute left in the game. It was a 2-point game. South Sudan hit a 3. Yeah. And 20 seconds left. The United States was on the brink of democracy failing. And it was, yeah.
And honestly, LeBron made the layup or whatever, and then South Sudan comes back down. Your boy got fouled.
Yeah, he did.
They didn't call it, but the dude from South Sudan got hacked terribly on that putback attempt. But
yes, he did.
But shout out to South Sudan for a team without an indoor basketball court in the whole country. They put up a hell of a fight and probably should have won that game, but they got a few NBA guys over there that most people haven't heard of that in the NBA, like Winning Gabriel and guys like that. But Luau Dang doing big things with the South Sudan squad, trying to help them out. He actually built on the first indoor basketball court in the country, by the way. Did you know that South Sudan has only been in the country for 13 years? LeBron has been in the NBA longer than they've been a country, and they almost beat them.
I didn't know South Sudan was a country until yesterday. I thought it was just the Sudan.
Yeah. They got they actually celebrated like last or earlier this month, something like that was their Independence Day. And so like 13 years, but it's crazy. A country that young almost beat the big bad United States in basketball. But I think the problem with the USA team is the lineups and the rotations. You're gonna have to take Joel Embiid out the starting lineup. Anthony Davis is the best player on this team right now, and he needs to be playing more significant minutes. They need to fix that lineup, bro. They need to put Ant in the starting lineup and AD in the starting lineup. But whatever the unit they got right now ain't working. I know it's just a tune-up game, whatever you want to call it, but I think it's real cause for concern. I know we're gonna talk about the women's a little bit, but I'm more
tune-up. That thing need oil change, boy. That was terrible.
I'm more worried about the men's team than the women's team, just because the women's team lost to probably the second best collection of talent in the world. Yeah. The men's team almost lost to South Sudan. Like that's not on the same level.
I was at a birthday party yesterday. One of Dylan's friends, buddies, birthday party. I gotta tell you about the birthday party too. It was interesting. We were watching the game, and they were like, "Man, they need Michael Jordan back. They need the dream team." And all I said to them was, "The world is caught up."
Yeah.
Like I don't know if South Sudan necessarily has caught up, but the world has caught up.
Yeah. But to be fair, the teams that the Dream Team played against, none of those teams will qualify for the Olympics today. You know what I mean? Like those teams today are so much further along than the teams that the Dream Team played. But because to your point, the world has caught up. You know, you have other teams putting out other countries putting out multiple NBA products every year. You know what I mean? So everybody else is catching up. And meanwhile, the United States seems to be kind of doing the whole let's go with the people that the names y'all know, like Durant and LeBron and Curry and all these guys, like they're old, bro, compared to what these teams that these other countries are putting out.
I don't know what it was. Curry has been ice cold.
And he's still in the starting lineup every time because his head coach is the coach of Team USA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. The women though, they're going for 8 in a row, and I think they're gonna get it.
Yeah. We finna switch over to talk about the WNBA All-Star game and Team WNBA versus Team USA. I do want to say this. One of the most interesting stats about that dream team, they never called a timeout that entire Olympics.
Yeah, no, that's is a crazy stat. 11 of the 12 are in the NBA or in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I know the one who's not.
The one who shouldn't have been on the team. If you would have put Shaq on the team, it would have been 12 for 12.
Yeah. But they want Caitlin Clark. Anyway, let's talk about the WNBA All-Star game. Now, that's a comparison. Leitner, Caitlin Clark. But anyway, let's go. WNBA.
That ain't no comparison.
I'm talking about the I ain't talking about talent. I'm talking about the whole should be, on the Team USA versus the talent. You say it should have been Shaq. I understand they had a requirement to have one college player, right? That was the requirement?
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Thomas should have been on that team.
Yeah, I mean he was left off for different reasons.
I know. I'm just saying
he would have been over. He would have been over Chris Mullin probably, but I mean that's
all right, man. WNBA All-Star game was yesterday. I'm gonna be honest, I was gone, and when I got home, I was in the middle of my road to glory. I missed it.
I watched part of it, but I had to go. Go to practice and team meetings.
Yeah, we say it. We say.
Hey man.
Hey, listen,
I'm trying to get that starting spot. I can't miss no team meeting.
I know, man. I know. But I do know that the Team USA lost to that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Pause up. They lost to Team WNBA. Some people are kind of, oh my God, they look. I don't take anything from, because, like you said, this is probably the team. The Team WNBA is probably, if this was an Olympic game,
they'd be second place.
Yeah. I think Team USA took a little off, just because of, and I say took a little off. I think they took it serious, but they also didn't risk anything.
Yeah. I think they was just trying not to get hurt. Plus they, trying to save their legs a little bit, maybe not have been playing as hard as the WNBA players were playing. The Team WNBA was playing in that game, because Team WNBA get a month off where the Olympic team doesn't. So I think that was part of it.
Yeah. Is there anything that is a cause of concern or whatever? But
I mean, you're not gonna see anybody in the Olympics who gets as hot as Enrique does. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason you lost the game.
You talking about Enrique Ogumbawale?
Yeah, don't nobody get that hot, bro. Like, she was unconscious, man. She went to a different level, and you're not gonna see nobody who does that, bro.
She's recently engaged too. I'm just saying. It just so happened. Never mind. I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah, I don't keep up with all this, but I mean, I don't keep up with all this, so
you ain't got. I keep up with it for you.
Man, they don't really. don't really move me, but they
move me.
But I think if anything,
Josh, no, you seen him? Okay, I'm just saying. Go ahead. My bad.
if anything, it just shows why Enrique should have been on the team, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a little controversial. MLB, the latest Hall of Famers. I ain't gonna say they was named. I don't know when they actually named the Hall of Fame players. But it can't. Well, I guess it's here. The names: Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, Joe Mauer, and Jim Leland. All four are the Hall of Famers for the 2024 class.
That's pretty. They are pretty deserving.
Yeah, no, I have nothing. There's nothing that's not the controversial part.
Joe Mauer,
Yeah,
he about the only one I would question, but he was a damn good hitting catcher though.
Yeah. Here's the issue I have. If your best are not in your Hall of Fame, does it even really matter?
Oh, you can. It's over. They're not getting in, bro.
I know they're not, but I'm just.
I mean, technically, yes, it's the Hall of Fame still. I mean, and that's just like prime example. It's just like what LSU did with Les Miles, right? Like they took away his wins and all that, right? So technically, they don't exist, but we still remember what happened. You know what I mean? Like he's not getting recognized for those wins, but we know he won those games. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and Alex Rodriguez and all these guys, they're not getting recognized for what they did, but we still know they did it. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're not getting formally recognized, but that doesn't make them any less great, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's just my thing. I hate the. I don't know. I just hate. Something about it just feels hypocritical. I just don't know.
It's what's hypocritical about it is if you let some of them in who have steroid allegations, but you keep others out. That's what's hypocritical about it.
Yeah. Didn't Rafael Palmeiro get in?
I don't know.
I can't remember because I was gonna say it's. I think it's somebody. It's
if David Ortiz in, and that's all you need to know.
That's fair. I was gonna say there's somebody in that tested positive, but they admitted it, but they're still in, and that's like the other people who never admitted it or whatever. But anyway, I hate that. Man, let's get ready to wrap up. Pause. Hey, when your boy was on, he said he's toured with 3 extra interests. I was about to say pause, no daddy. No daddy, pause. But I was like, no, I let it slide. Man, hey, so yesterday, I know you didn't watch. I didn't watch. I ain't realized. Jake Paul.
No. We not finna dignify him with any time on this show. No.
I'm finna.
Hell no.
Jake Paul beat Mike Perry.
Who?
There you go. If I'm not mistaken, it's in bare knuckle fighting, but it was a boxing match. I don't know. It's Mike Perry, if I'm not mistaken, is another MMA fighter. He had been in that league, that bare knuckle fighting league, but okay. He said Palmeiras not so, but
I don't care nothing about Jake Paul, dog. I'm sorry. Like that dude fought somebody he like 2 times bigger than dog, and we supposed to give him winning this damn fight. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like that's like Shaq fighting Nate Robinson or something. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna give him credit for
rest his soul. That's we literally saw a fight like this. I was finna call him the NBA crackhead. Lamar Odom had a fight with Aaron Carter. He had a fight with Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter is since deceased, so you know what I'm saying, rest his soul.
Yeah,
but they had a fight, and that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
That seemed like something off the show Jackass. Like this fight, man. I'm not. No.
But people keep buying it. People keep watching.
People buy a bunch of shit. You know what I mean?
And they keep trying to legitimize it.
People buy pet rocks. That don't make it smart. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
Man, like people was buying tickets to heaven. You know what I mean? Like, people buy all kind of stuff, dog. Like, just because people buy it don't mean it's worth anything.
Mm. Mm.
I'm gonna come up with me a scam like that.
Call it Texas A&M.
I'm gonna sell. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sell Texas A&M national championship tickets. You feel me?
That's sexy rig tickets. That's funny. That is hilarious. Oh man. You got anything else? We'll get out of here.
Nope.
We'll be back on. That's exactly how I go. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Let me mark this time.
Bro, what? Refrigerator Perry him a new bowl. Ain't no way, bro. That's like a matchbook having a fight with a stick of matches, like the actual match.
If Chuck said it, you know it's gonna is that. Speaking of Chuck, you been seeing Chuck been making all these guest appearances.
Yeah, man. Chuck
been
on,
Chuck been on. He was on. He was on the show. ONG. He was on the show.
Yeah, I seen
breaking it down. I was like, look at Chuck.
He tagged me in. I seen Chuck be man.
Chuck about to have his own show. We talking
hey, chill out, man. That's my fellow alumni right there. Dog. We went to the same high school.
I guarantee you, he y'all I don't know what they did at St. Fred. All y'all be having all the encyclopedic knowledge and stuff. Both of y'all, you know, I say something, you're like, nah, man, ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Chuck can tell you the year, circle.
Yeah, Chuck, now that dude, he the real encyclopedia, dog. You could just say a name and he'll tell you. I remember back in 1943, back when I wasn't alive, but I remember it. You know, Chuck, he remembered everything.
Chuck,
that's my dog, though, man.
Man, Chuck be man. Gotta love Chuck, man.
He be watching everybody's show, showing everybody love, man. Chuck a real one, bro.
Gotta love Chuck, man. You can't help but to.
That's all I got, bro.
Yeah.
I got practice in a minute though, so we gotta make this quick.
You talking about practice? Shit, I got a game. It's game time.
I got
and it's here. The dilemma. It's a party the night before the game.
Don't do it.
Do you risk it?
Hey, let me tell you this. If they offer to give you the answers to the test, don't do it.
Yeah, I turned all them down.
Don't do it. I did it, and my GPA dropped. I got caught cheating.
I'm gonna tell you the funny one. I got tired of the seniors trying to make me do stuff. I rejected my damn team leadership drop. I was like, because I wouldn't carry their pads.
You wouldn't carry their pads, yeah, bro.
Hey, man,
pads to practice, man.
Hey, I tell you what, too. Not every NIL is worth it either.
Oh yeah,
I didn't found that out.
Yeah,
don't miss curfew. I ain't miss curfew. Yes, David. All that is in the game.
Yeah,
NIL, but you pick your NIL and all that. Man,
EA Sports, it's in the game, man. If it's in the game, it's in the game.
Hey, I had a 5 running back at James Madison. 5 running back.
I'm finna go take Tulane to this playoffs, man. Hey,
I'm finna.
Tulane got a nicely receiving core on the game though. They got Kyprine, Shaz.
No, they do. Tulane. I told you
running backs cold too. That's a nice little squad on the game.
I told you last year. Just because he gone,
yeah, they gonna
ain't change. Hey, listen,
over there, cuz.
Listen, Tulane is going to be the best group of 5 in 2024 or group of 6, whatever it is.
It's still a group of 5. You know, we lost the conference. They didn't drop down. You know, they just.
I thought we added a conference. Didn't somebody like the ASUN, somebody at United or something?
Nope.
I thought so. No.
Now the Pac-12. I mean, technically the Pac-2 is just 2 teams, but we don't count them as nothing. They just don't exist really.
Yeah. Oh well, man. But I'm finna finish going undefeated. But
yes,
I had to change. I had to delete that James Madison.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost to ULM. I was like, this is an all-time low. I was listen. The only win we had was a FCS team, and that was by 3 in overtime. I was like, ain't no way James Madison is bad.
Shout out to the Warhawks.
No, sir.
You lost to General Booty.
And they was general ass.
That's exactly what ULM is gonna be this year.
Yeah. All right, man. What's my theme music? That's why I can't get out of here. I ain't got theme music going.
ULM is gonna be generally booty.
All right, we'll be back on Thursday. No, Wednesday. My bad. We'll be back on Wednesday. We'll be talking Florida.
I hate them bastards.
Like that, we out. This show was presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.